Yeah, guys, Beast back with some more Beastly content. So we are going to be doing the ultimate crop facility design here, guys. So first of all, the core design here is actually just one of these 2x2 little platforms here. That's the core design. We built a 4 platform design here so that we could use it on an alt on Way of Winter, so that maybe we can get closer to a 250 facility crop farm. However, I am going to be building, as many facilities as I can on my main, and then also that. So you actually only really need to be building 2 of these 2x2s, and then place yourself just like 2 blocks in the middle there, where you can be placing your stairs to actually get into the thing. Aside from that, though, a 2x2, and then you're going to go ahead and build up 2 high on your walls on all of your 2x2s that you're going to be building. You're going to want to leave a space open for a door, but that's about it. That's really all you need to do is build a 2x2, and then 2 tall, and then, slap a ceiling on it. If you place your light in the middle of the ceiling and place nothing but Lumi soil down, you can get a ton of plants in there, and all of them will be irrigated and lighted by both one irrigator. So every single 2x2 will use 3 watts of power, and then there's your water pumps powering it. And once again, irrigation wise, you could use less power by using a gravity fed system, but you'd have to have rooftop access, and it just sounds like a lot of extra work for no real reason to me. So in the future, I think we're going to be doing like a build design based more around the ideas. We'll see in Way of Winter what we're doing. This is probably the last time I rebuild my crop farm for a while. So as you can see here, we are building 4 of these. We did want to test out the design for Way of Winter when we're using an alt to build our farm, so that we're able to build our farm, full of facilities. We started out with like 80 facilities used before we even had any crop facilities planted, guys. That's why I want to build it on an alt. That'd be 80 more facilities I could have and use in order to actually, make a lot more plants come out of my harvest. And then also I could have like 100 or whatever the number is I have on here. I still have all the facilities I need building this on my main, and I get a good harvest out of this, guys. And I like the 4-1 design more, and maybe you could just spread your crops out more when you're planting your Lumi soil and do a 4 design. However, we're only going to be showing like an irrigation setup for a 2 design, but it's pretty much the same as a 4 design. The only thing is you might want to go ahead and use 4 of the water pumps to pump water up to your irrigators, or once again design some sort of gravity fed thing. The main thing to know about water lines is that whatever is above the item will be the thing that is sending water down to the other item, unless you're using water pumps, which reverse the flow of water, so you can pump water uphill that way. So as you can see here, we are just building ourselves doors, and we built doors on like both corners here because we thought it was going to be a 4 design. That way we could build a walkway from all 4 of them and just real quickly plant all of them and walk to each of them. But since we're only going to end up actually using 2 of these facilities here today, because that's all I actually had enough, facilities plots for. I had a few extra that I was going to, be able to use on a 3rd one. But I really didn't want to do like a 3 design, so I ended up just using 2 of these, and we went with 2 of these. But as you can see here, that's how you would do it if you were doing 4 and you were building this on an alt. Like I said, on an alt, you may actually want to build all 4 of them and then just spread out your loamy soil just a tiny bit. I did actually notice on the grid snapping, you could place it directly in the grid snapping squares. So if you wanted to do a 4 design, I think that's how I would try spacing out your loamy soil, especially if you're not building this on an alt. If you're building this on an alt, a 4 design may work out very well. But once again, we're just going to be doing the 2 design here. This is kind of like a sneak peek into a future video. Though I think in the future video, I don't know, it's going to be interesting because I want to see how we're going to be using this alt 100%. Because I want to use the alt, and I think using just a simple 2x2, the design I'm showing you here, where you can just fit a ton of crops with 3 watts of power to power it, I think that's going to be the best for my alt. But part of me wants to, like, on my main character, build the base around the farm, but have all the other facilities I need, and then on my alt, I'll run just a full facility that the only extra facilities it's going to need, which sucks because you're still going to have to plant irrigators and the lights. And if you don't do I think what I'm going to end up doing is just powering only water pumps, so it'll be like 2 watts extra of power and 2 more items to be placed on top of the generator. So once again, I'm still not going to get a full 250 planter facility. It's not possible if you're going to have irrigation and lighting, which is a core thing to do in growing, and you will be getting a lot better harvest just by, you know, losing a couple plots, you're gaining a more amount of harvest. So I really hate all these videos where they're showing like these designs where they're just doing irrigation or they're just doing lighting, and it's just plotters, and you can't even plant in them, so you can't use your own fertilizer or anything. And fertilizer is another thing that's like, you can triple your harvest by using the yield boosting fertilizer. Do people not realize tripling your harvest is a very big deal? It does not take a lot of extra time and will make your game just a whole lot better, especially if you're using things like, you know, the whole thing to grow the seeds. When you're growing seeds, you're going to want to use breed boosting fertilizer. So here we go though, let's get back to the actual build here. So as you can see here, this little center dot on the grid snap is actually exactly where you're going to want to be placing your water pump, or your irrigation thing for the water. You know, you place your irrigator here, you place your light right on the ceiling, directly dead in the center. You will see I am actually taking my time on placing this, making sure I get it, you know, kind of straight as possible, as, you know, trying to line up the lines of the square with the lines of the ceiling here, and then trying to place it directly in the center. That is key here. In order to light up the entire room with one single light, is to place it directly in the center. We're 2 blocks tall, so all of this light will actually fill an entire room with light enough to light every single one of the loamy soils that we are about to be planting. But as you can see here is what the 4 2x2 design looks like. We're going to be cutting it in half and just doing a 2x2 2 of these 2x2 areas, and that's gonna make like a let's see here. So we got to like 230 and we were at 80, so we're sitting on like a 190 if my math is correct. I'm kind of just, you know, eyeballing math right now. I'm not aiming for it, but 190 is what size this is. And once again, you know, that all it's gonna be worth it for those extras. And then also I could build like a 150 on my main, plus like a 200. I'm gonna aim for 240. I think that's what I want to try and achieve. I think I want to achieve 10 facilities for, you know, setting up irrigation and lighting, and then the rest of it will all be just plots. So that should be very nice on Way of Winter. We will be seeing that, guys. I cannot wait for Way of Winter. I'm interested to see if farming is affected by these extreme cold climates. I'm wondering how crops are going to grow in extreme cold climates. I'm really hoping that they do something with the system to where they're going to allow us to continue to grow, and they don't just go, you can't grow crops in the cold. That would really suck, because growing crops is like a key thing. I don't see them ever doing that. I definitely see them probably just throwing in an item that's like, it's a heater for your base, and it will keep your crops warm, and that's all you need. Or maybe the light of the lights keep your crops warm, and that's why we're not going to have to worry about it. We will see in Way of Winter. I am really hyped for it, guys. I hope you all are too. I hope y'all haven't been burned by the Prism vs. Clash stuff. So I don't really understand, and I see, once again, I say it on the Legacy server, so I have no idea how the game is on Prism vs. Clash. I've seen a lot of negativity when it comes to the game, when it comes to Prism vs. Clash, and it just doesn't make any sense to me, because Prism vs. Clash is filler content. It's literally built upon the map. Like, the people complaining about the game and going, oh, this game just doesn't have enough content, are the ones playing Prism vs. Clash. Which, yeah, that does not have enough content. It is a filler 2-week scenario, guys. It's a 2-week long scenario. What part of filler don't you understand? But seriously, I don't understand why people don't just stay on the Legacy servers and wait for a Way of Winter, because I don't want to play another run of Mana Abyss. I don't want to do that grind again. I'd rather sit with my current stuff and, you know, test stuff out that I'm going to be using on Way of Winter. You know, kind of learn the end game a bit more, because eventually you will be end game on Way of Winter as well. And even, you know, learning the game more, playing on your Legacy server versus, you know, joining into a Mana Abyss and leaving early, if you're even allowed to leave early at any time on the 17th, and it's not going to be like, you're not in phase 3 yet, you must wait a week, which, trust me, I do just not put them past doing that, because even signing up for season 2, they still didn't make it a way to where players who were a week behind were able to be day 1 on season 2 either, and we were still a week behind. So I just don't see there not being some sort of delay. And the only way I see avoiding this delay is just by staying on the Legacy servers and waiting for Way of Winter to release, unless you were already, once again, a day 1 player who was already playing the game day 1, so your servers were already lined up to where release after release, you're going to be ready by release. I was a week late, as most of the rest of us were, if we weren't later than a week late. So, yeah, hanging on Legacy server, best option. But as you can see here, setting up the irrigators now. So we've just placed 2 water storage facilities on the tops of the roofs for both of the things, just so that the water lines will run straight down. You can place them all over the roof. It doesn't really matter. You need 2 of them though. So one's gonna run a water line to one of the water, irrigators, and one's gonna run a water line to the other water irrigator. So they're both gonna have their own like reserve tanks for water, and we're going to be using water pumps in order to actually pump water up to them, and I will be showing you my little purification setup so that you can copy it if you want to have water automatically pumping up to it. However, there are a couple caveats. Firstly being, if you are in a polluted area, you will also be pumping impure acid up to those storage containers up there in your farm, which is not a big deal, and I'll show you how to, get around that and also use it to your advantage. It's not a big deal due to the fact that there are 32 slots in the water storage containers up there apiece, and it will not pump impure acid into your irrigators ever, because irrigators just don't accept impure acid, so you don't need to worry about that. But if you set up a power relay to your both irrigators, lights, and the water pumps, they will actually, when turned off, pump water out of those storage containers that are sitting up there that are filling up with impure acid back into your water facility setup here, and it will actually allow you to collect the impure acid. And we'll take a look at that in just a second here, but I just wanted to show what was going on. And if you're wondering how I adjust the lights, I literally just drop my car in here, and then I drive it in there, I stand on top of it, and I'm able to adjust the lighting here. But as you can see here, we have 3 different crops growing here: saffron, wheat, and pumpkin, all of which use the same irrigation and lighting. Most plants in the game actually use the same irrigation and lighting, so it's really a no-brainer, and it's only 3 watts of extra power. It's really a no-brainer to be using both of these and having them at the right settings, because you will be getting a better yield, and your grow times will be accelerated and more of a consistent to the number it says. Not to mention, there's growth boosting fertilizer that will also boost the speed at which your crops grow. It'll actually like a third of what the growth time should be. So if it's a 6-hour grow, it'll take 2 hours. If it's a 12-hour, it'll take, I don't know, probably 6 hours still. But you get what I'm saying here. It will reduce the grow time significantly, so you'll be able to actually do full harvest of these maximum facility plantations here and be able to get a ton of things farmed up. Like right now, I'm working on getting these stargazy pie farmed up, like a whole bunch of them, because it increases crit rate. That's kind of what I've been doing, is trying to figure out what all items I'm gonna want to end up making in Way of Winter from the current season, of course. All this stuff, and made some of the stuff we have in the game right now, but I'm sure like stargazy pie, most of the core crops, probably all gonna be in the game. So I'm assuming these core items that increase like crit rate, weapon damage, damage against bosses, all of these aren't going to be going away with Way of Winter. So I'm learning all the recipes, learning how to farm them, learning the best ways of getting them all in bulk, and using this farm, designing this farm, figuring out what crops I need to grow for what. So like I only need deviated saffron, for instance. I have 30 deviated wheat and like 4 deviated pumpkin. That's why I placed a bunch of pumpkin again, because yeah, and then I have 5 buzzy bees running around. We will be doing a full base tour of this base, and I keep saying like the ultimate in-game high efficiency base. And like I don't know what I'm gonna title this, but this is way better than my previous base tour. I mean, don't get me wrong, my last base, it sufficed. But I gotta say, the base I'm in right now is great. Now, as you can see there, we just toggled the power to our irrigation setup and our lighting and everything. And as you can see here, we are actually seeing impure acid trickle back into this storage container. And this is how I actually collect the impure acid from this now, or how I've decided I'm going to collect it from it. And I'm actually thinking I'm not even going to do a collection of the impure acid until the day I walk into the crop facility and I see that the irrigators aren't running, because then I'm going to know that both of those storage containers have 2 storage containers. So there's 64 stacks. There is 64,000 impure acid that will have to build up in these water tanks before they ever clog up with nothing but impure acid, which will take a very, very long time anyway. So that's why I turned the switches off before then, so I can, turn acid into it. But one side of this, the 1 and 2x4 or 2x2, is a contaminated berries, and the other side is going to be for items. So I do believe that's about the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it kind of gave you some light on how to make these facilities super small. But I am out. See yous. Keep it beast mode.